Dr. Ambedkar Global Law Institute, Tirupati. In our previous class, we have analyzed the meaning of the term contracts. So, contract means it is an agreement enforceable by law. So, contract is defined as an agreement enforceable by law. So, here it is thus an agreement. But remember, every agreement is not a contract. It is only that agreement which is enforceable by law. It is the contract. As agreement becomes enforceable by law only when it complies with the requirements of law. That means unless and until you satisfy the requirements of law as to Indian Contract Act, an agreement cannot become a contract. Let us see these requirements. These requirements are: number one, that the agreement must be between parties competent to contract. Next is, it must be made by the parties by their free consent. Next, that the agreement must be made for a lawful consideration. That the agreement must be made for a lawful object. And lastly, the agreement must not be expressly declared to be void under the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872. That means, for the existence of a contract between parties, there is an agreement. Parties must be competent to contract. Parties must make it with their free consent. There must be a lawful consideration. There must be a lawful object. And lastly, the agreement must not be declared void expressly. So, what are the requirements? There is an agreement, then parties must be competent to contract, parties must make it with their free consent, there must be lawful consideration. Remember, any consideration should be lawful. Unlawful consideration does not satisfy the requirements of the provisions of Indian Contract Act, and it should be for a lawful object, and this agreement must not be declared void expressly. Let us analyze section 10 now. According to section 10 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, all agreements are contracts if they are made by the free consent of the parties, competent to contract, for a lawful consideration, and with a lawful object, and are not hereby expressly declared to be void. This is the definition given by section 10 of the Indian Contract Act. If you analyze this definition, that means to make an agreement becomes enforceable by law only when it complies with the requirements of law. That means, for the existence of a contract between the parties, the agreement must be between the parties competent to contract. So, competency of the parties is very, very important here, that it must be made by the parties by their free consent, that the agreement must be made for a lawful consideration, that the agreement must be made for a lawful object, and lastly, the agreement must not be expressly declared to be void under the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872. So, if we analyze section 10 of the Indian Contract Act, section 10 speaks about the existence of a contract between the parties and certain essential requirements. What are they? There is an agreement, and parties must be competent to contract. Parties must make it with their free consent. There must be lawful consideration. There must be lawful object. The agreement must not be declared void expressly. Again, free consent of the parties, competent to contract, for a lawful consideration, lawful object, and not hereby expressly declared to be void. For an existence of a contract, again, free consent of the parties, competent to contract, that is competency or capability or qualification of the contract, lawful consideration with a lawful object, and these are not expressly declared to be void by any law. Yeah. So contract is something more than an agreement. So it is said that all contracts are agreements, but all agreements are not contracts. To constitute a contract, certain conditions are there. So let us analyze what are those requirements or conditions. Number one, two parties. Number two, consensus ad idem. Number three, capacity to contract. Number 4, free consent. Number 5, lawful consideration. Number 6, legal relationship. 7, lawful object. 8, terms must be certain. And lastly, ninth is possibility of performance. Unless and until all these conditions are not satisfied, we cannot say that a contract is enforceable. So, to constitute a contract, what are the conditions to be satisfied? Namely, two parties should be there, consensus ad idem, it is also known as identity of minds. Number 3 is capacity to contract. 4 is free consent, lawful consideration, legal relationship, lawful object, terms must be certain, and possibility of performance. Let us analyze each terms under the Indian Contract Act. So let us analyze the first point, that is two parties should be there. Remember, in a contract minimum two parties should be there. Even contracts can be entered into between more than two parties also. But minimum how many parties should be there? Two parties should be there. So to constitute a contract, there must be an offer and acceptance. The person who offers or makes the offer is called offerer, and the other party or person who accepts the offer is called acceptor. So remember, in every contract there must be at least two parties, namely offerer and acceptor. So in fact, the offer and acceptance must be communicated properly to each other. So two parties should be there. The person who is offering or makes the offer is called offerer, and other party who accepts the offer is called acceptor. So who are those parties? Offerer and acceptor. So in every contract there must be at least two parties, namely offerer and acceptor, and especially the offer should be properly communicated to the acceptor, and acceptance must be properly communicated to the offerer. Why? You cannot enter into a contract with yourselves. That's why there should be minimum two parties. Even a contract can be entered into with more than two parties also. Second point is consensus ad idem. It is also known as identity of minds. A contract to be valid, there must exist consensus ad idem. It means identity of minds between the parties to the contract. In other words, both the parties to the contract must have agreed, consented, accepted to the subject in the same sense and at the same time. In the absence of the consensus between or among the parties, the contract is declared to be null and void. Void ab initio. That means it is void from the beginning. Let us analyze by taking one example. Here A has two houses, namely X and Y. A offers to sell X to B. Now B is going to purchase this house thinking that it is house Why? Here there is no identity of minds and hence it is not enforceable unless and until both the parties, that is offerer and acceptor, should have the same thing in their mind in the same sense and at the same time. The contract is unenforceable. Assume that B has purchased house Y thinking that it is X. Subsequently, he can go to the court, he can repudiate the contract Y because it is unenforceable. There is no identity of minds. There is no meeting of minds between the same sense, same subject, and at the same time. So, this consensus ad idem is very, very important in the formation of a contract. If there is no consensus ad idem, the contract is declared to be null and void. Let us analyze point number 3, that is capacity to contract under section 11. The parties to the contract must be competent to enter into a contract. If you go to section 10 once again, all agreements or contracts, if they are made by the free consent of the parties, competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object and are not hereby expressly declared to be void. So, competency is very, very important. Any person can enter into a contract provided the Indian Contract Act says he should be a major, he is of a sound mind, and he is not disqualified by law enforced to contract. So the parties who are entering into the contract must be competent enough to enter into a contract. According to section 11 of the Indian Contract Act, any person is competent to contract provided he has to satisfy certain conditions. He is a major, that means he should not be a minor. He is of sound mind, that means he should not be of unsound mind. He is not disqualified by law in force to contract. That means even though he is a major and he is having sound mind, sometimes the court specifically disqualifies him to enter into a contract. In such situations, he cannot enter into a contract even though he is a major and he is of sound mind. So, major means who has completed 18 years of age. If you analyze section 3 of the Indian Majority Act 1875, a minor is a person who has not completed the age of 18 years. That means if you complete 18 years of age, you will be called as a major and you have every right to enter into the contract. A contract entered into with a minor is void ab initio. That means invalid at the very beginning. There is one famous case, Mohari Bibi versus Dharmadas Ghosh. We will see that case law when it comes as and when it arises. So, the capacity to contract means any person is competent to enter into a contract provided he is a major, he is of sound mind, he is not disqualified by law in force to contract. So, who is a major? Who has completed 18 years of age. However, this age of minority extends to 21 years if a guardian of a minor's person or property is appointed under the Guardians and Wards Act 1890. So now we have analyzed 3 points. One is two parties, namely offerer and acceptor, and this offer and acceptance must be communicated properly to each other. Second one is there should be consensus ad idem, otherwise identity of minds or meeting of minds. Third one is capacity to contract. In our next class, we are going to analyze the remaining things. Have a good day. This is Srikant signing off today.